once the immunity has been established, patients will be visiting only one, sometimes two clinics for their decision. So every case will be discussed as a unity. And all the team members have also got a lot of sessions, lessons, because of the experience sharing, the cases, and also the presentations by the team members. So it is one of the good opportunities that our department and pediatrics department and radiology department, radiation as well as pathology department has established, and we all are benefiting from that, which we can take the lesson to other units. So as I said, Dr. Samuel is going to present on the benefit of radiologists get from MDT and how it should be structured to benefit all the involved stakeholders from the MDT sessions. Dr. Samuel,
thank you. Afternoon, everyone, and I'm so humbled and thankful for the invite. I know how time sensitive the chairperson is, and I'll try to complete my talk within an hour. So, as a radiologist, what do we expect from the referring physician, be it the MDT, the surgical or the non-surgical physician? So the first thing is we as a radiologist expect or need to get information about the patient, especially the requests that are sent to the radiology department need to have adequate information. And the second is we need information. So it is not to copy the answer from the request paper, but it is to gear ourselves or put our mind into right decisions so that the right management is given. And the third is we need information. So we need the information. A radiologist, every time I tell the residents that a radiologist who reports an image without an information is like someone shooting in the dark. So we need the information. That's what we need from the clinicians. And the second is we need communication, especially two-way communication. Every time we have a patient, we need to have a communication, be it verbal, a phone call, a text, email, or anything. That's what we want for the best outcome of the treatment. And the third that we need is we want to know what the referring physician is concerned about, what his or her question is about the problem, so that should be a part of the information that we get. And the last is feedback. Feedback is everything for our practice. So every time we do a report and we discuss on a patient, be it on a personal report or a multidisciplinary team discussion, we need to have a feedback of that patient, especially surgical patients. Post-op, we need the feedback. That's paramount importance for a radiologist. Saying this, I will reflect on the rest during the discussion time and what is the engagement or the role of a radiologist in the provision of the care. The first is, as we all know, we are all trained to report image, so we do image interpretation at the initial visit of the patient, and also, especially in multidisciplinary team setups, we do have a follow-up imaging, especially those patients with tumor have multiple follow-ups, so that's one of our role in the MDT. Our second role is we are in collaboration with the clinicians involved in making imaging protocols and making standardization. Especially, we've tried to come up with a standard set of imaging protocol for every patient. That is a role in the management and the care The third is radiologists, especially in the recent years, are being involved actively in the management and as well as in the diagnosis, especially image-guided diagnosis and treatments are being implemented. So that is one of the paramount importance in the involvement of radiologists in the clinical care provision. So we have there is not that wide, but a limited experience in image-guided procedures, both diagnostic as well as therapeutic. And the last point that as a radiologist will be involved in the role of the involvement in the care provision of a patient is a collaborative activities in developing, especially a comprehensive treatment plan, whether as a radiologist, whether we think there is surgical problem or non-problem, whether there is a medical emergency or a surgical emergency, and so on. So in the treatment of the patients, we will be involved in the treatment planning. Thank you, and I'll be happy to have more questions.
Thank you, sorry for taking the hour. So it was a good reflection what they are expecting from the clinicians and how they are engaged in the management and diagnosis of the patients. So as you already said, sometimes you shouldn't be but they have to know the background before they decide what to say now. So they make sure that if you want to know the size and the shape of the thing, make sure that you document it. We want the size and the shape of the thing, that just see the kidney or something like that. So, and if there is a need, make sure that you got the phone number to call up and explain the details. Sometimes it might be difficult to write everything what you want to see, so better to communicate verbally too. And finally, they have to be engaged, because at the end of the day, the multidisciplinary collaborative work will be strengthened if the team is full. So in addition to interpreting what you want to see, they are also part of the protocol development and the new strategy of management. The hydrostatic reduction, the true cut biopsy is a witness that we are seeing in our day-to-day life and how it changed the patient's life, even our lives. So make sure that we are, wherever we are working, we are properly collaborating with the existing team members to strengthen our capacity and service. So after this reflection, there are a few questions that I'm going to ask each panelist to reflect upon. So the first question will go to Sister Yodit. So what do you think is the challenge that nurses are facing in caring pediatric surgery in our setup?
Lack of resource, for example, lack of resource, medical supply inadequate staffing, shortage አለ ነርስ በጣም እጥረት አለ በተለይ ዋርድ ላይ ማለት ነው። ፑር ኢንፍራስትራክቸር ለምሳሌ ውሃ የለም ይታወቃል። ታውቃላችሁ ላይ ኢንፌክሽን እንደሚመጣ ራሱ ሌላው ሊሚትድ አክሰስ ትሬኒንግ ኤንድ ኤዱኬሽን እስካሁን አላየንም። ትሬኒንግ ፒድ ማለት በሰርጀሪ ሳይድ ከገባው ጀምሮ ማለት ነው የለም ይቻላል። ላንጉጅ ባሪየር ኤንድ ካልቸራል ዲፍረንስ የተለያየ ከተለያየ ቦታ ሰው ስለሚመጣ ያም እንደ ቻሌንጅ ነው። ሌላ ኮሚኒኬሽን ጋር ዶክተር ኤንድ ነርስ አንዳንዴ ሜዲኬሽኖች ወይ ኦርደር በማይደረጉ እንደዚህ አይነት ቻሌንጆች አንዳንዴ አሉ። እነሱ ሌላ ተረዳ ይህን ይመስላል ቻሌንጆች።
How will somehow try to cover what is really happening on the ground? So we all literally appreciate the gap in communication. So it is a must to express ourselves, to explain what we want, not in an arrogant way, not in a way that I know better than you, and I care for the patient because I care for the patient. So make sure that everyone there is there because you all want safe service for your patients. So don't take out things on your colleague because you demonstrated, because you have deficiency in resources, including water, or you have deficiency in the operation theater space. So make sure that the communication is smooth, that will make your life happy and healthy. Thank you. The next question will go to our neonatologist, Dr. Gasset. So what do you think is the impact of resource limitation in your service, and how does that affect the collaborative work?
Thank you. So I have tried to mention actually in the earlier discussion. So especially the limitations that we have is a lot, and the outcome council which affected significantly. So I just tried to mention some of the limitations that we have preoperative, intraoperative, and postoperatively. What are the basic limitations that we have that have an impact on the outcomes of such cases of neonates? So the first thing is that we see the pre-operative period. So usually the diagnosis is delayed due to different reasons. Sometimes some people deliver in health institutions with clear congenital malformation, no one will take in the labor room. So the patient is sent to home. So probably it will be just evaporated later after 3-4 days. The patient will come in peritonitis. So that's really very difficult to manage after that one. So the awareness that we have and the detections of the disease. Even once you detect the disease, there are a lot of gaps that you see. Once the patient arrives at the hospital, due to different reasons, laboratory, radiology, another thing is do this thing, so it takes a long period of time. So the outcome really has an impact on the overall outcomes of the people. The most important thing is the nutrition. I have tried to mention that one. So we don't talk about nutrition. At least liver, not just fatty acids, if it is amino acids available, that may save lots of patients. አንዳንድ ጊዜ ምናልባት እኔ አንድ ቪያ 100 ml of amino acid I was in India, just cost around 500 rupees. That means 250 ብር ማለት ነው። ግን when you come to our country with black market, 100 ml of amino acid 10% amino acid cost 11,000. You can see how it is really the system that we have is just difficult to work. Okay, so unless otherwise we especially patient with behavioral conditions, patient with TF and other things which stay for longer, any for more than 70 hours, ideally should be put on parenteral even after surgical procedure. So we need to make sure that the nutrition, at least the protein should be maintained. So that is the issue that we have. So definitely there are animal. The other blood product that I already mentioned, there are a lot of limitations, even due to blood product unavailability. So sometimes surgical inflammation can also postpone cancer. So this is the things that we see in preoperative and preoperative periods. When it comes to the intraoperative, there are also again a lot of issues, especially the monitoring. We don't have any information about what is going in the OR, particularly for that newborn. I'm just saying what we have is the documentation that we have. Just the patient just stated something, but we need detailed information, or sometimes even the teamwork that we have also knows that much strong, so we need to work on it so that we can improve the care of the patient. Hypothermia, it takes the line share, so hypothermia really very terrible. So, or potentially you can see level 1 or I don't know, just it's very cold, so that is really not convenient for special later on the preterm, maybe even for third baby, it's not, even older children. Young children cannot raise hypothermia, so related to anesthesia and other things, and it also hypothermia has outcomes of the people, so that would be. And documentation-wise, so we need to document everything what was done, and even just especially the food balance. We are in doubt, okay, so the patient giving blood, something that one, and we don't know exactly. So these are the issues that the problem. Fluid government sometimes under and other that compares with us. So the fluid balance should also take into considerations. And post-operatively, the most important thing is the pain management. So that we have practice of poor pain management in the not only in the neonatology, just in the pediatrics, general pediatrics, or the management for the pain is suboptimal. So we need to do something so that they can. So pain, it has an impact on the growth and development and other things, so to take into consideration. Again, nutrition can become also in the post-operative period, and monitoring again, so we are lucky, okay, so we don't have monitoring. Just intermittently, we measure the BP, and even the blood pressure, Stiano Babilata, so just we use the normal salary market and so that's good to the possibilities, okay? Depends on the sedation. Again, we have to, there are some babies that need sedation, especially like after we pain, so we need to rest the patient. Otherwise, if the patient is fighting, definitely there will be case. So that we so that limitations that we have, and so the can so the getting that paper. In the ventilations parameters that we have. So most of the areas we don't have ventilator. So we start actually next step, but at least there are a lot of areas without ventilation. If in case we go after surgical intervention with the baby arrest, so we need to continue the care with mechanical ventilators. So again, the readiness, the availability of the equipment, the experts that we have, also handling critical surgical sick patient is not that much optimal. So these are the challenges that we face, and we are also witnessing the gap that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gassit. I think even these days, he was comparing the temperature of neonatal ICU to level 1 in OR. Now, at Blackline, we are in a position to equilibrate the temperature of the environment in both neonatal ICU and OR. So, heater is becoming a luxury for neonatal ICU. So, the equipment and the resource issue is an issue which we need to say the minimum basic things should be the standard. Sometimes giving service, caring in an unsafe way is not caring at all. So we have to make sure that basics are basics. So if there is a need, there might be a way of addressing our voice. So the time should be there to say no service should be given. So temperature is not an issue to negotiate for neonates. So we raise the issue of resource for neonates because it has got significant impact on patient outcome, and it has got significant impact on our collaboration because the patient is not well stabilized because of temperature, or the joint is not well controlled because of phototherapy, or blood is not available because of the hospital issue. The surgeons are not taking the patients to the OR. The neonatologists are frustrated because the patient is kept in NPO for long and is not going to be fed for the next few days. So that would create a harsh environment between the two working groups. So the resource issue should be addressed as a group. So the last question will go to Dr. Sawi. So he somewhat touched on the expectation of regular scenarios of resources and others will be reflected by Dr. Sawi. The expectations to the surgeons as well as the resource issue or your expectations?
Okay, thank you again. Especially the resource and the challenges that we face as a radiologist in practicing in multidisciplinary team management is, the first thing is documentation. We don't have like structured documentation so that we cannot get the image, the previous image for comparison and everything. So that is one of the first challenge. And as we know, that is not only our problem, but resource limitation, especially biopsy needles, drainage tubes, and ultrasound machines, fluoroscopy machines, and everything. The resource shortages is another challenge. On top of that, we have a limited number of well-trained professionals, and the level of training and the chance that the trained professionals get on-job training again for escalating or improving their skill are not that satisfying. So the number and the level of training is also a challenge in our side. But in spite of all the challenges, the manpower, the resource, and everything, and the experience, what I said is we have to believe in ourselves, and we need to have a self-belief. So whenever we have this collaboration and interaction and communication, we can do things on our way, so we can have a solution for most of the problems. So these are the challenges and the solutions, especially that that we can fix can be fixed by mutual effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sami. So, yes, documentation, paper documentation, system documentation. Now people are moving to AMR, and the AMR should be integrated into our system because, you know, in managing patients with chronic illness, congenital anomalies, oncology patients, we need to know what the previous result is. So we have. It might not implemented this year, it might not implemented next year, but we have to start advocating about it. It has to be nationalized structured, and it's just a system. So working on the system might not be from individual or institutional level, it might involve the ministries. So we have to work on advocating on that aspect. But because of losing that data, we are losing the management options to our patients. So we need to work on that. Thank you, Musani, for raising this important issue. So the next question will go to the colleague of our panelists, who is our meeting hall. It is Dr. Tandana who is going to reflect on this. So what should be the level of engagement of the different stakeholders in MDT meetings? And what do you think is the benefit of having additional, specifically dedicated, combined clinic than just MDT session? I'm sorry, Dr. Daniel has got sitting there, like he couldn't attend, so I asked Dr. Tandana to help us, and he said, okay, and I'm really happy that he's with us, and thank you for that.
Okay. Thank you very much. I cannot agree more than what my friends said. Regarding MDT is a classical example of one-stop shop. So every expert will calculate what shall be done for the best interest of the patient. So from radiology point of view, from surgical point of view, and from our side. So our patients have been served literally a lot after establishment of MDT. MDT is literally meant to do the best decision. So sometimes, however, the implementation is really tough due to loss of some critical imaging techniques, imagings themselves, and difficulty to obtain some instruments and the like. Besides, some of the procedures might be delayed due to lack of blood products, lack of OR, or a busy schedule for some of our friends. But I'm very optimistic. This MDT, especially in Singapore, is milestone good. We have it once in a week, and there is what you call, when we always were talking about MDT, there is what you call an oncology calendar. Do it now, because the development time will be faster in any of the childhood carcinomas. So that's what I mean. And apart from MDT in a session, good to have a combined clinic. That's a wonderful idea. So that we could assess the patient throughout his treatment course, not only a one-time shot. Besides, there are some challenges regarding administration of chemotherapy, for example. We need to embark on kids with any sort of malignancy. So that's what I should say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kader. Daniel, do you have anything to add on?
To give care to oncology patients. So even the licensing of an institution to give care for pediatric oncology patients requires MDT, and then stakeholders should be involved quite closely, and also this one point decisions should be made. So the environment has made a dramatic change at times, and our care has become more and more smooth, and we see less and less confusion and less complications. So having one clinic is something we should look into in the future. We believe that care nowadays should be based on the type of service and not depending on the departments and the like, which is in our case. So if we have already an oncology center, then everyone involved in oncology can practice together, and this becomes very convenient for the I think that's about it. The other thing is the quality of care can also increase, and we currently don't have any immunohistochemistry, but that's coming up. So pathology, they're trying to improve on the quality of diagnosis. So that will improve the ability and also help us to relay the right information to the respective parent. I think that, did you have a second question?
What do you say is the need of clinic, specifically a dedicated clinic, apart from community clinics?
So the patient in here, actually?
Do we need specifically dedicated clinics? And at the same time, can you respond also for how can we engage patients on their decision?
We're actually doing that. We're engaging patients. In the West, on the NET board, patients will always be included, but usually in the final stage, once an agreement has been made, then the same information will be given. But for example, in palliative treatment, one has to engage the parents. What degree of palliative you're planning to give, or if you're thinking of an intensified treatment where complications are anticipated, you have to inform the parents in decision making. So most of the time what we do is once we have documented everything, one fellow will communicate all the information to the parents, and the parents will decide whether to continue or not to continue with the suggested treatment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rani. So, this is one of the good experiences that everyone can take lesson from and advance it to the nationwide, and also put what is really missed in the current medical establishment and different setups. So, plus patients, definitely they are all part of the management of suggestions, but their engagement should be depending on their level of education, and they don't have to sit in the whole ability discussion, because some of the things might affect their psychology. So on the actual decision and on awareness on the overall care of the patient, they should also be part of the discussion. So the next one question will be reflected within 2 minutes from the panels, and we'll go directly to the discussion. So the first question will go to the Dr. Sister Judith. What do you think is the level of nursing training and during your pre-service education, and how is their level of engagement in decision making?
Training service for providing the patient. Therefore, providing training in different ways is very important. ምክንያቱም ትሬኒንግ ስለሌሉ ብዙ እውቀቶችን ለማግኘት እና ፋሲሊቴቲንግ ነርሲንግ ፕሮፌሽናል ዴቨሎፕመንት አክቲቪቲ ይኖር እና ፕሪፔሪንግ ኮንፈረንስ ዊዝ ወርክሾፖች ቢሰጥ ለነርሱ ጥሩ ይመስለኛል። Nurses who are engaged more likely providing high quality communication with the patients, being more satisfied with the work. ብዙም ነርሶቹን ያው ለማድረግ ሲሆን ሳቲስፋይድ አይደለም። ምክንያቱም ፑር ወርኪንግ ኮንዲሽን ነው ቦታው፣ ብዙ አመቺ አይደለም። ሎው ሳላሪ ኤንድ lack of recognition and personal factors can affect the motivation. የለም እንደዚህ ስንሰራ ነው ጊዜ እንኳን ቆይተን ምንም አንዳንድ ነገር ሪኮግናይዝ ቢደረግ ነርሱ ተሳተፈ ብዙ ጊዜ አሁን አይሱ ብዙ ጊዜ ሰራ ነው ግን ያ አላየንም እንደዚህ አይነት ነገር እና እነዚህ ነገሮች ትንሽ ነው ጥያቄ ከበድ ይላል እና እነዚህ ነገሮች ቢታሰቡበት ለነርሱ ሪኮግናይዝ የሚደረግበት እና ትሬኒንጎች የሚሰጡበት ወርክሾፕ የሚደረግበት ነገር ይፈጠር እላለሁ።
Thank you. Unfortunately, the training system somehow is not inclusive of everything. Undergraduate might give just theoretical knowledge, but not practically on pediatric surgical patients, and the care for surgical patients is somehow demanding. And updated information should be also accessible. So I think stakeholders who are in a position to lead an organization, a society, or something related should take the initiative of pursuing, engaging, and giving updated information to the team members, because updated experience sharing will improve the safety of the care of our patients. So the next question will go to Dr. Gasset. So what are the neonatologists expect from pediatric surgeons during overall care?
Thank you. Actually, it's very difficult to limit only for the pediatric surgeon to increase the outcome. So I just try to, what should it look like? Just care. When you give care for the newborn surgical cases, what are the things that should be done? So I want to see in holistic ways. So from different directions, we need to take into consideration.
Recording in progress.
Okay, so the most important thing is, as I already mentioned earlier, it's delayed diagnosis. So this can be related by, so most of the neonatal problem is congenital. So, and nowadays, almost all congenital malformation can be diagnosed antenatally. So if you have really good antenatal scanning, and if you identify the problem early, so that you can discuss the pediatric surgical team, the neonatal team, and even the obstetric team can come on board and discuss about the condition, when to intervene, and what are the surgeries to be done. That's really the most important thing. And most of the time, usually it is really very dangerous for us just to pick every congenital malformation antenatally. Even just the other thing is also to create awareness to pick congenital malformation at the level. At least gross malformation should be also picked immediately after the level. This is the work of the neonatal team and the obstetric team. So if identified early, so intervention will be also as early as possible. The other important thing is that we have delayed intervention. Delayed intervention is investigation, especially the ultrasound, X-ray, echocardiography. Do you need really echo for everyone? And echocardiography, X-ray, ultrasound, and sometimes also very difficult to get senior physicians to decide. So most of the time you rely on junior resident doing ultrasound, and you rely on ultrasound. So that's what also this matters. So we need to, so basically we need to have someone to dedicate and assign for pediatric or just neonatology, so that I think it can enable everyone. So that person can do the investigation and the medical modality, so that he can diagnose as early as possible. The most important thing is, so we need to have also guideline. So this guideline, preoperative care specific, not only the general guideline. So we need to have disease specific or surgical condition specific guideline preoperatively, what are the things should be fulfilled before we do surgical intervention. limited resource. We have the limitation resource, particularly the temperature, the central line, especially the peak, peripheral inserter, central line, femoral line. We don't have even for newborn that we usually give just a lot of fluid, blood, and other things. So we have also stop three-way stop line should also have level. So that should be also the most important thing is that we need to have. And the other infrastructure-wise, and separate neonatal surgical room. Actually, it can be also built, but that is dedicated especially just to regulate the temperature. You should have separated neonatal surgical OR so that the temperature can convenient for taking care of newborns. So the other, lastly, what I want to have the training, basically, they have also, we need also to work hand in hand. So we have some basic training in all directions. Just you can think how many of you wash your hands before we enter to the neonatal ICU. Just you can ask yourself. So infection prevention, basic infection prevention should be given for all of us, or just for nurses, for physicians working, for surgery and other things. So these are the basic, should be the basic things, okay? So that's the most important things. And that again, just as I already mentioned, so training on perioperative care, for stakeholders should also undergo. So these are the things should be fulfilled. And that is the most important thing is we need to assign one person, just resident, surgical resident should be assigned in the neonatal ICU so that we can communicate easily with him and with his scenario and other things. So that will be also the other thing that will be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. President. It was a good reflection. So dedication is mandatory and abiding to the principles of safety is another thing to be addressed. If there is a gap of knowledge, proper training might be needed to be availed. And collaborating is also another thing to be addressed to get what is needed for the safety of neonatal surgical patients. I'm just saying surgical to stress on that most of the members here are surgeons. So otherwise, only is the special care for best outcome. So the last reflection from the panelists will be from Dr. Sami. So what should be the engagement, the level of engagement of radiologists in the management as well as follow-up of patients?
Okay, thank you again. The level of engagement of radiologists, there is no limit, there is no specific measurement, but what I said is we've been involved more in the diagnosis than in the management so far, but in the past few years we're part of the management of patients, especially those patients who have fluid collection, sepsis drainage, and tumors. We can scale up this to the level of vascular intervention and further interventions that are being practiced in somewhere else. We can put lines, we can put tubes and everything. So that should be the level of engagement of radiologists in the provision of care in pediatric surgical patients. So my expectation, and I'm so hopeful that in the next few years we'll be doing that. We've started to be part of the management, and we'll keep on doing that, and that will be our involvement in the management. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sami. So yes, we are witness of that, and definitely as we promised, they will scale up the service nationwide and also in different deeper subspecialties. So now I will open the floor for discussion, reflection, questions from the audiences, so that the agenda and the subject will be full in addressing the issue to the service. So it is only 30 minutes because of different issues. The panel discussion should be limited for an hour and a half. So we already finished an hour and we have another 30 minutes for discussion. CA is happy.
And if there is respiratory compromise, then the patient can be treated with ventilation. In 3 years of my pediatric surgery attachment, I did not see a single non-included apnea at the ICU. So by now I'm convinced maybe what we have is not neonatal ICU. It's just a neonatal ward. What do you think should be done to change that? And my 2 cents, my suggestion would be, should we have a neonatal ward and maybe ask for neonatal ICU? Because what we have now is just a name, not neonatal ICU. Thank you.
Those people that have come from relatively a little bit outside of Addis, we would have a different picture than the picture that we are creating to show now, because what I feel now from the panel discussion is we have a very good radiology practice, we have a very good neonatologist, we have neonatological professionals. Now we are in the process of integrating them and creating an MDT, but from practical perspective, is that what is available in the rest of Ethiopia? Do we have such kind of practices yet? So my question actually is going to be more of in that line. So the first question is with regards to staff retention or staff motivation, because in Juma we don't have a neonatologist. We cannot talk about improving the care. We need some ownership from the unit before we go on and think of adding additional quality projects. So we need an owner. So what should be done so that people would be more interested to become what they are? This is not only for neonatology per se, this includes nurses. You know, we have one very good nurse who maybe stayed in the neonatal ICU or in these critical places. They would want to be changed, rotated after a few months. And the main reason, Yuri has also mentioned it, is the motivation factor. I appreciate that she has stayed for long, and I appreciate also the nurses that were awarded in the morning that have stayed for long in a single place. But what is the factor that must be done so that people would stay long in one place so that they would keep their training? So I think one issue that I have is with regards to that. The other question that I have is maybe it is somewhat related and something related to the radiologist as well. How can we motivate the staff to start new practice? You know, sometimes things may not be done in those places and they have already the training. But how can we, what is the responsibility from pediatric surgeon perspective to motivate the radiologists to start new practice? For example, I have seen in the morning that cystovaginoscopy is being done. I hope it is by radiologists or by us. So the pediatric surgeons. Okay, it's okay. So fluoroscopy, contrast study, intervention studies, echocardiography, these are things I hope are done by radiologists. Of course, there are some in the resource problems, but pushing that resource problem and trying to start doing these things, what can be done to motivate? That's the question. Thank you.
In terms of staff, in terms of logistics available in the lab. So this results in, as in the morning stated, lots of mortalities. And sometimes it feels like we take neonates in, operate, and then they die, and we hand over the corpse to the mother. And it's too frustrating, and sometimes limiting to
our services to whatever we are able to provide than just taking all this units. So what do you think if we consider limiting, let's say, unit to nurses ratio and available supplies and the like, if this runs out, then stop the service. This sometimes forces the policymakers or the officials to do something about it. This is one. Second issue is I don't know how your interaction with the general surgeons is. Sometimes what my experience when I was in Blackline is that we don't see the neonatologist. We order, we do whatever we have, and then write orders, and then the neonatologists make their rounds, and they decide if this is, there is some sort of indirect communication, and this also affects patient outcome. And the needs of neonatologists and the perspective of the neonatologist and the general surgeon is different. How can we narrow this gap and communicate with each other? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's not a new question that I'm going to raise, but it is something similar to what Gunnar Gerson raised. As a pediatric surgeon, we are really highly dependent on the other professionals. Like we are highly dependent on pediatricians. We are again highly dependent on radiologists, anesthesia professionals, pathologists. So unless we develop among the different disciplines the habit of and the culture of working together for pediatric surgery to reach a level that we are aspiring, it's really very difficult. And now it is becoming a culture that among different disciplines, once a patient is labeled as a surgical patient, it is very hard to get assistance from all the other disciplines, including pediatricians. So I think it is about this body, about our association to change some trend in the training of the different disciplines. Like for example, when you have a pediatric child and a pediatric patient who needs an ultrasound, an elective ultrasound investigation, the child has to wait for a queue together with the adults. And for the radiologist, he is just a patient. There is no any difference. And the same is true also in the other disciplines, like when there is a newborn with a tracheoesophageal aphasia. Once the diagnosis is settled, it is after that it is all about the surgeon. Nobody is taking care. So how is it possible to change this kind of trends and bring the culture of working together into the discipline of medical practice? And the other thing is, Sister Yodit has raised a very important issue, because working in the OR or working in the children's ward is a bit demanding without any reward. So, for example, in our case, nurses are shifting every 6 months or maybe every year. And every time a new nurse comes in, then we have to train that nurse. And after training the nurse, then you don't get him after 6 months or a year. So there are so many factors behind this. So I think this is not something that a given institution can work on and change it. But something has to be done at the level of those people who are making policy. And the policymakers are not easily influenced by individuals or by single institutions. I think we have to do something using the opportunity of the formation of this association. So I think this is mainly for Dr. Tantan and all the others. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Then take that as a question.
My comment is also about what the neonatologists have mentioned, and we have been mentioning about hypothermia resource limitation. So I've been trained in Tukwabasa, and sometimes the challenge is not only scarcity of the resources, sometimes there is significant attitude problem. For example, once if I mention one example, there was no anti-heater in the wards, even in the neonatal as well as pediatric ICU. And I heard I had a patient having hypothermia, and I was looking for a heater. And some of the staff they told me that there is a heater in the administrative building. So I went to check there, and there are many heaters in the administrative building, in the same compound. So sometimes I feel like we are running the opposite direction. What the clinical staff is working is oftentimes challenges with the administrative person. So can we make our care comprehensive while we are attached to the administrative office? It's a great improvement of MDT, having joint sessions together with radiologists as well as pediatricians, because it has brought a significant change in the course of our patients. But usually, for example, even in this current meeting, I don't think we have anyone who's from the administrative office. Even for the TPA, for example, usually even the minor things are not being answered by as administrators or the government officials. But have we ever pushed administrators or any government officials about such things like TPA or any of those things which are costing the lives of our patients? Are we pushing enough, or is this the time to admit that and to push them afterwards? So how shall we involve the administrative staff?
Thank you, audience, for your constructive questions. Ask for ourselves. For example, if you ask our nurses who have been dedicated to pediatric surgery, yes, they are dedicated. It is their behavior. But in addition for their work, there were times where they were acknowledged as business of the month, business of the year, kind of recognition with the presence of the medical director. And this is to give them more motivation. The other thing, whenever there is a rotation, fortunately we were I was the OR director. I literally went to the office of the medical director and said, the OR nurses couldn't be rotated in a regular manner that you are doing to the other wards, because it is a special dedicated ward. So when you want to move OR, ICU, as well as I think ICU, NICU nurses, you are committing a crime to the system. So fortunately they acknowledge, and the maximum rotation they do is 40% of the team, not the whole team, which is a good change. But before that, every 6 months there is a rotation of bloodline, and that is a normal trend. So fortunately, they gave us their ribs, and they were competent. That's why that was successful. And the other thing, when new practice comes, again, it starts from yourself, and look for team members who can agree with you. One thing, share your vision with your new team member, and share your new knowledge. You can get that knowledge during workshop, conference, reading, anything. But after sharing that vision with your trustful team, then start from that team to implement. That better practice would be seen by other team members, and they will take the lesson. The same thing was practice for checklist use. The same thing was for the team briefing early in the morning. So everything will start from small, and make sure that you strengthen your team before you want to expand at once. And the other one is we are highly dependent on other units. but they think that they are not giving us attention. Who knows? They've got their own priorities. So better to think of let's get together and think about our future. We are not going to work continuing like this, and we are not going to have gray hairs at the age of 40. So better to start discussion from the start and have a set time start. For example, at Blackhead, right? Last week, there was a discussion with the neonatologists. As you said, neonatologists might not be available when we were rounding, we were making a round. And they were complaining the same thing. The surgeons are not making a round in a regular way. But we were doing round every day and they were doing round every day. So what we agreed upon is to dedicate one neonatal fellow or resident to round with us during the surgical team round, so that they can know what's going on with the patient, what the decisions are, rather than just document communication or verbal communication. These are some of the reflections that were present.
Thank you. So actually there are a lot of issues with neonatal care. Information, I want to just give some information. Ministry of AEPS is አካባቢ just level of neonatal care ወደ level 3 እናሳድግ ተብሎ 80 ሆስፒታሎችን ለልን በቦታ ሆስፒታሎችን level 3 አትስ በቃ ቼክ ማድረጋቸው ከዛ በኋላ ትሬኒንግ ተብሎ የተጀመረ ባይ ዘ ወይ አሁን አንዳንዶቹ ነገሮች እናንተ ሆስፒታሎች ባለው የሚለው ማለት ነው። So with this package, each hospital at least a minimum 10 radiant column distributed for each hospital. 3 ventilators for the first, actually just half of the hospital, 3 ventilators, which is actually distributed as well. And the other thing is ultrasound. We can do also echocardiogram, ultrasound, pediatrics fitting, fitting, ultrasound, mean brand, no Mustafa, Saman Mustafa distributed. Are we trying X-ray machine, digital X-ray machine? Every hospital has this 80 hospital. Digital can also come with them. Internet is not available. X-ray in there, touch there, just low. You can have for dedicated rates as X-ray. So when you go back to your home, so try to see this thing is where is it? We don't know that, but you can't have another money. ከዛ ውጪ ምናልባት የምናረጋቸው መጀመሪያ ከዋና ጀምሮ ባይኖረ ደስ አሁንና ደስ አይወደስ ኔናቶሎጂ ላይ የመጣው 2018 ዓመተ ምህረት ነው። ጳውሎስ ላይ ለተማ ሁለት ሶስት ሲሆን አቅም ነው we just try to manage the industry now in that, especially the necessary equipment that need for the care of little babies in such cases like TPA and coffee, and there are lots of shape phosphorus and other things. So we request now, but the response that we get from the ministry, not that much satisfactory, but otherwise just we are just keeping, we are just nagging with that. So that our TPA is in Sarapet, but I'm very passionate about the very passionate. I'm not talking about social now, which is not fair totally. Some factors the black በጣም ውድ እነዚህ ነገሮች በጣም ውድ ናቸው ማለት ፕራክቲስ ነው ግን ይታዛ አይታክቶ ከሄድ ለጥቂ አንድ ማለት ነው ታው ሁሉ ካለ አውቃ ከፈሸተ ከፈፕሮም ሰርጀሪ ሶ ዛት ሹድ ኦልሶ ቴክ ኢንቱ ኮንሲደሬሽን ከዛ ምናልባት ስቴክሆልደሮች ጋር በተያያዘ ያሉ በተለይ ትሬንድ ፕሮፌሽናል ያው ሰው ይችላል የሚያደርገው ቤዚካሊ ማለት ነው እና አሁን እንደዛ ያለ ተሰም ፕሮሰስ አፍሪካ So our like neonatology fellowship general, we have just the first 2 fellow, just existing exam. የሚቀጥለው አራት ፐርሰኖች ተቀበሉ። እነሱ ስለዚህ ያለቀ ሰርቪስ ይጀምራል ሊመጣ ይችላል። ግን ያው ሰው ይችላል እያደረገ ነው ማለት ነው። ግን ከዛ ውጪ አዘርዋይስ አሲ ፒላትሪሻን ሲናቱ ልጅ ነው ፒላትሪሻን ነው እንደው የሚያስደስተው ከፊሽንት ጋር ማለት ቤዚካሊ ነው። አሁን እንደዛ ነው ከፊሽንት ጋር ምናልባት አሁን እኛ አሁን ፒላትሪሻኖቹ እና በጣም ቤት አፕስ ወጡ ሲወጥ ካና ዛሬ በዚህ just becomes a bit also being around. So daytime, everyone just morning, evening time, everyone is available in the world. So I say everyone should be available in the world so that you can completely take it. Otherwise, just around that little bit economy to do it. So we also work logistical children also to manage that. You know, so education is just another someone should disappear from those that should be there. ሌላ ያልመለስኳቸው አይ ቲንክ እንደዚህ ናቸው። ግን አብሮ መስራት ግን ያስፈልጋል። ምንም የለንም አሁን እውነቱን ለመናገር ፍራስትሬቲንግ አሁን ምንም የለንም። ግን ቁጭ ብለን እንዴት አድርገን እናሳድገው ሄዳት ወኛ ታሳደሮች አሁን ወንዴ ከግብ ተናግረናል ያለው ፍራስትሬቲንግ የባይዘ ማለት ብዙ ነገሮች ተከትቶ እንተብሎ የሚታገላል ያለው ነገር ቴ ምናምን ነገር ኦፕሬት ሰርተላቸው ሁለት ራይ ቆይና ይሞታል መጨረሻ ማግኘቶች ነው የሚገኘው ሰው እዚህ ላይ ፊታቀት ያለው ነገር ማለት ነው። እና ግን በቀላሉ ብዙ ሊሰጠው ምናምን ቶሎ ሊከበራሉ ሊመታቸው ቬንትሌተር የተባለው አንድ ቬንትሌተር በየሆስፒታሉ አለ ሶስት ሆስፒታል ላይ ናቸው። ጀስት ካን ዌይት ሲ ዘ ስቶሪ ዳክተር ፈለጉታል ካላችሁ ራዲያተር ነው ተቀማጥ ግን ሽፍት ማለት ነው ማለት ነው ያለው እንደሚ ኢተር የለም ግን ቢሮ ይገኛል ያለው ነገር ሰው ሊት ልፎ ኤኒ ግን ኦፍ ሶሻል ሌቭል ዘ ማርኬት ኢት ወይ ለምሳሌ ካምፓኒ ካፒታላይዝ አጥቷል if you are strong enough and if you work together so you can bring significant changes. Thank you.
Thank you, so as you heard, there is a resource which we cannot see. There is a resource with the side, but not which they are not seeing the human resource. So I think we need to align and work together. So I'll give two candidates to reflect and close up on the session. Make sure that you use only 1 minute. 1 minute.
We now underline that we work together and we are interdependent for the good outcome of patient care. So that is the point. Not only in neonatology, but what I would suggest is to have a joint ground round on a monthly basis or even regularly once in 2 months to have a common take a discussion point with a common interest and have a joint discussion. Then we can complain, we can report, we can accuse, and we can also push policymakers to address the problems. If children are dying because of there is no radial warming in the month of April, and the mortality rate of neonates at that month has increased. And we can say this is most probably because of the temperature. So that has to be, do you want this case to continue? Then take responsibility. If you don't buy this, that's this. So I think this looks small, but data collection is very important. Thank you.
To proceed. But this, I think this is only a temporary solution. We cannot hinder some rocket. That's possible, but currently we have started nursing residency. Nursing residency, for example, in neonatology, nursing residency in oncology. So these nurses will be treated like residents with their own philosophy. And there will be a big addition for the working force, and at the same time they will develop their career. So in cascading such kind of things, I would say, good to take a package, a training package. A pediatric surgeon alone cannot do anything without a pediatric nurse. So a pediatric oncologist cannot do anything without a nutritionist, without a psychologist, without an oncology nurse, so without a palliative team. He alone is single-handed. Even if shouting, nobody will hear him. So good to think about this kind of trainings in the years to come. So this is a golden opportunity for this society to cascade this kind of information which might change the policy of the nation. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is a nice experience for our association, and we are very happy to see this has happened. And I just have a few comments and probably one question. My comment is actually, the thought for pediatrics generally in the country personally believe, we say children are not retarded and so on, that the assumption to the society and also the policymakers is children are not adults. I think because if you can see the instruments, including flutes, they are not child friendly. As you see, to give flutes for neonates, for preterm, you have to reduce from 1,000 ml from Marsaline and calculate the maintenance to give 150 ml of 1/3 or 2/3 maintenance that we know. So personally, we have a lot to do. This is a great start to collaborate and harmoniously work to create awareness, promote our service, and further increase our collaboration to increase the quality of care to pediatric patients and specifically to pediatric patients. This is, I think, the main concern that I want to share. And the question is, how should we address resource and infrastructure challenges and limitations? Because individually it's difficult. So now we have Pediatric Surgery Association, we do have Pediatrician Association, we do have all pediatric anesthesiologists, pediatric radiologists, pediatric orthopedics, pediatric surgery, so I think we have done a lot, so a lot can be done. So how should the resource issue be addressed? Because as Dr. has said, it's individually it might be difficult. So we can collaborate with the association, we can develop some manuals and so on. That way we can impact the ministry or any other stakeholder. The other thing is regarding to the nursing. We believe that the nurses are very fundamental and very critical in patient care. Often we operate and the follow-up, everything is done by the nurse, especially the neonatal ICU nurse. So we do have neonatal ICU training, but we don't have, I think, pediatrics dedicated nursing. We should have such kind of training. Probably, maybe I may be mistaken. There might be pediatrics nursing, but I would just want to have a comment on that and so on.
Thank you. So about the one minister they took over. So I'll give the floor to Sister.
ነገር ግን እንደዚህ እዛ ቦታ ላይ የሚሰራ ልጆች ያን አድቫንቴጅ ቢሰጥ ያን እዛ ቦታ ላይ የሚሰራ ልጆች ጊዜ የሚለት ትድል ይላል ጥሩ ነው። ምክንያቱም ፈተና ሲወጣ ደሆን ከሁሉም ሀገር ስለሆነ የሚጣጣው ስለሆነ የተወሰነ ሰው ነው የሚሄደው። ለዛ ነው
I think currently in the country there are masters training in neonatal nurses, pediatrics and child care nurses, emergency nurses, OR nurses, and oncology nurses, not specifically pediatrics, but oncology nurses. So somehow there is a startup or some specialization for the nurses, which is a good trend. But those who are being trained until the system established that they're having all the capacity with these nurses, then the trained nurses should come up and offer a short time, like 1 day or a 1 week kind of training in collaboration with the other staff members at the pediatrics unit, pediatric surgery, and pediatrics related other fields. So that should be the way in capacitating the nursing system of the nation. So Dr. Lucas will reflect on the last thing on the floor and
just to give information for you, just before 1 year and a half, we tried to see the preparation that we have for it for the newborn. Just mixing, we are mixing. We don't have regular level like 10% extras, 0.45%. saline 10%. So there is the fluid preparation, always we mix fluid together. So now we propose for the Ministry of Health, they try to prepare small size concentration like 100 ml saline, 250 ml, 10% dextrose, especially for the first one, 250 ml, 10% with 0.45% saline, 250 ml with 0.3% saline. So this is just the fluid that usually utilized for the newborn during maintenance fluid adaptation. So this is the way that we are daily use of macadamia and macadamia. Still, the process like probably just pharmaceutical also cooperative, they will also produce. So I think that will be available. We don't exactly, but at least we have the food heredity available, food available. Not only that, even the blood. Normally, for newborns, what utilize this, we wasted the 350, minimum 350 ml. For the newborn baby, we have more than 60 ml per kg. So, can be so service of 450 ml service, we can put 100 ml 5 pounds. So this also is a process probably after we discuss, so this could also maybe give some, we can decrease the wastage of the blood and the wastage. Just preparing for this ml, probably maybe start as a meaning after we utilize all this ml.
Thank you, Dr. Kasset. I think one last thing as the theme of the day is collaborating and elevating resources. So everyone has got priorities, but if we organize ourselves and set up the priorities and give the scale up to the priorities as MLDT group, and then address the ministry or other organizations for support, might be easier than individual approach, individual unit approach per se. And the pharmaceuticals also will be happy if you approach them as a group because they will see the demand than as an individual request. So thank you so much, all the panelists, Dr. Sawi, Dr. Kasset, Sister Edith, Dr. Gale, and all the audiences for your great contribution. And now I will call upon Dr. CJ to say a few words and the team